We have a procedure for that. All right, so everybody listen up.
Okay.
Fuck up, Nate. All right, so this is how we sync it all up. I'm gonna go recording on 1, 2, 3. On 3, everybody click record, and then we're all gonna say a number. So I will say 1, Nate will say 2, Mike will say 3, and Benoit you'll say 4. And so that's how we'll so try to say it right after the person, basically. Okay. So it's a good way to sync up everything.
Okay. Well, before we start recording this, I have one more question for you.
Sure. What's up?
I know when you have these guest segments, they typically bring something to the table to converse about. I wasn't exactly sure how you guys want to do that. Is this going to be kind of like a roundtable discussion? Are we going to just kind of say our own piece and that's a nipple?
Oh my god!
What the hell?
Jesus. So I'll answer this question since he's in hysterics. So basically, and he posted. It should be in the chat. If you check the chat,
yeah, it's in the chat, guys.
There's a doc. So we'll have a couple segments, and then when we get into open discussion, you guys will talk about your topic for whatever you want to talk about. But you'll kind of get it as we go. I mean, it's very, it's.
Well, we go first, so it's kind of like we don't have anything to go off of. But no, I think I get the idea.
Just kind of go with the full conversation.
The first thing we'll talk about is the trailers. The trailers, Ghostbusters and John Wick. Then it'll go into the open discussion.
Let me go watch the Ghostbusters one real quick.
There's nothing to watch.
There's literally nothing to watch.
My car.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's in some barn too. Like it's the old Back to the Future barn. I'm like, what the fuck?
The biggest thing in the trailer is the sound effect from the original movie. But other than
Muffin
that,
ate your burger. You tell her go to her room.
Okay.
I like you were fucking eating it.
She's getting it.
Okay. Love you, baby.
Ah, that's my phone. Okay.
Oh shit.
We're
dropping stuff.
Let me watch the trailer real quick.
Daddy?
What?
Snuggling there.
She's snuggling?
No.
I'm confused.
She's not going.
She's not going to her room?
No.
Muffin! Muffin! All right, you stay out there, baby girl. All right, good job.
In a world
full of nipples.
I'm watching the John Wick trailer, and I thought that was in the fucking trailer. I was like, did they seriously do it in a world?
Oh, that's awesome. Where Keanu Reeves has an up and down movie career.
Where Keanu Reeves is a robot.
Right.
Oh,
shit! Spoiler. Sorry.
Right.
Braun is in.
No, that's Replica.
John Wick 3.
So speaking of John Wick 3, do you think Halle Berry's tits are still as nice as they were back in Swordfish?
That's a good question.
She's had a couple babies by now, hasn't she?
So they're probably even like.
I mean, Gravity wasn't really that friendly in the first place, so. All right. I guess, do we want to start recording?
No, he's still, I think, watching.
I'm almost like I've got like 30 seconds left in the trailer.
Okay.
You would think he'd have watched this beforehand, but no.
Right?
That would have made sense.
I do everything too little out of the people who do shit with me.
He's like, oh shit, wait, what? Notes. What are we doing? A podcast.
Okay, I can almost guarantee the answer to your question is yes. Because in the shirt, they still look nice.
Right? I know.
In a shirt, yeah, but yoga pants make every ass look awesome.
Hey, I'd still hit that shit.
John Wick 3, where they took a cue from Call of Duty Ghosts and added a dog as a kill streak.
Hey, there's been dogs in every movie. This was a natural progression to make them a part of the fight too.
That's true. That's true.
John Wick 3, double the dogs.
Did you guys see the Sam Elliott trailer? The man who killed Hitler,
Hitler and
Bigfoot?
also Bigfoot or something.
No,
I have
no.
not seen that.
It looks like actually good. Like it's like, oh, this is cool. Okay, go ahead.
Has like a really long title, like The Men Who Stare at Goats.
Miniature at Goats, underrated flick.
Yep, it's really good actually. All right, everybody. So we use Audacity, but basically whatever you're gonna use for recording, just click record on 3, and then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So try to say your number right after the previous person.
3. Okay.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm ready.
All right,
I'm
ready. Recording on 1, 2, 3. 1.
2.
3.
4.
I knew he was gonna do. I knew someone was gonna go 4. Like
4. Real fast.
Well, I was told
Okay.
to go, so yeah.
Yeah.
Nate,
take the
shut
right
up.
after.
He's following directions. You guy. My bad. Okay. Where's my doc? Where's my DACA?
John Wick asked the same question about his dog.
Where's my dog?
Well,
It's too soon.
Do you think the dog ate the homework?
He ate the bullet, that's for sure.
Wait, well, I thought he got stabbed.
I don't know. I know that is a series that my wife will not watch because she came in at the part where the dog died at the beginning of the first one. And
Oh,
she
it was like
pissed at me
off-screen.
she was pissed at me that I didn't turn the movie off. I was like, I still gonna watch it.
so I'm
I mean, it
guessing
wasn't
Old
like
Yeller's not her favorite film, right?
right.
Yeah.
It's not like they choked the dog to death in slow motion and his eyes popped out his head or anything. I mean, it wasn't that bad.
I Am Legend. Oh my god, that was a intense scene. Okay. All right, so once again, first off, you better be listening on headphones. We've had a couple of people listen just through their desktop, and then it's like echoing the whole time, and you might not be able to hear it on Hangouts, but in like Audacity or whatever you're using for recording, like it shows up. So please listen with headphones. Don't worry about cursing. Like, don't apologize if you say fuck, because it's fine. I mark it where it is so that I can get back to it. And so, don't worry about that. Just be yourself. Be yourself.
I am, for everyone, I'm sending the article about Leslie Jones. So
Leslie Jones.
we can look at it.
Okay.
And,
All right, let's get started. What episode is this?
I think it's 28.
Okay. 28. Let's say 28. What the fuck? Why is it so tiny?
That's what she said.
4.
4.
I walked into that one.
That's what she said.
So did your mom. Dang it. Okay. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Nerd to the Third, your stop for video games, movies, and nerd culture. Today, we're bringing you the Power 3+1 with your host, Nick, Nate, Mike, and Penwa. Everybody say hi.
Mike's name is
Hello.
actually Mike Hawk.
Jesus Christ, people. Why do you always do this?
I was gonna say hi,
I'm looking
but
at
it
the
sounded
goddamn
like you.
doc.
I thought you said Penwa.
Yeah, I heard that
There's no
too.
P
Yeah.
in my name.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you don't understand accents.
He's drunk. It's okay.
We're both speaking the same language, right?
They're
No.
they're from that mountain area.
B equals P. Do I need to open up a box of cereal to find that decoder ring? What the fuck?
I'm actually not from the mountain area. Thank you very much. I would like to be, but I'm in Texas.
Oh, nice.
Oh, so that hat and beard's more of a hipster thing for you. Okay.
So,
Yeah,
no,
right.
no, we've already
Kinda-
established. Okay, everyone watching, we've established they've been giving me shit about my hat. When I take the hat off, this is what you fucking see. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
look like a goddamn
normal
peacock
fucking
in here.
hair.
Oh,
That looks like a man's hair, actually. It looks like you've actually had sex or whatever. So why would you be ashamed of having sex? I mean,
Because he hasn't wiped yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
See, that's before the recording. They're not going to get that.
I plead the fifth.
All right. So just a little bit of quick grinding here. Today's guest is from One Giant Leap for Geeks. So go ahead, Mike, and tell them where they can find you and what you guys do.
I'm Mike C Squared, the host of One Giant Leap for Geeks. We're a podcast about pop culture, mainly movies. We talk about video games and all kind of fun stuff like that. You can find us as usual places: iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all that fun stuff. And we're on Twitter as well at Giant Leap, the number 4 Geeks. And I also got my co-host here with me, Benoit.
That's with a B.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up, guys. And Nate, as always, and he decided to have a hat. It's a nice hat.
It's a very comfortable.
Have you ever played Second Son?
No, I always wanted that though. I wanted that special edition, but I never got it.
You look like him with a couple extra donuts, and you just gave up and you grew a beard.
He's like, the world has been saved. I'm retired.
Oh, you'll never know which ending I picked. No, it's actually a little bit. It's actually a little bit cold in Texas too. Surprisingly, like in the 30s, which I wasn't expecting.
That's cold.
Well, for Texas, yeah, they're probably dying. Yeah, I'm like here in Michigan, it's like negative 17 degrees or some such shit today.
Not yet. It's more like negative 10, but there's not much of a difference really.
Well,
I mean, once you get to a certain negative, it's like you either way balls.
Nothing's really positive.
Right.
All right, so let's get started with our first segment of the day, X3 Reacts. All right, X3 Reacts. We have a couple of number 3s to talk about. First up, Ghostbusters 3, and then John Wick 3. So which one do we want to start with?
Okay. Ghostbusters is probably the easiest because there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, really? These are trailers though? I thought you meant like Mega Man X3. I had a whole spiel on that.
So Ghostbusters came out with a trailer, if that's what you could call it. It's really just a glorified GIF at this point because nothing really happens in the trailer, and it shows the original Ecto. So it's like, okay, cool. No doubt. I guess yay, fuck you in your stupid hat.
What the fuck?
I didn't know we were going to have Tourette's here. Okay.
So I guess yay feminism, am I right?
Yeah. Well, so what I thought was kind of cool about this whole thing is I don't remember what day it was, but that morning they were like, hey, we're announcing Ghostbusters 3. And then I think it was an hour or 2 hours later. It's like, hey, here's a trailer. Like it was kind of a Fallout 4 kind of thing. Like, hey, we've been working on it. It's coming out in 3 months. Like it was that kind of situation. But
it kind of reminded me of when Cloverfield Paradox came out and they put out that Super Bowl trailer, and it's like tonight after the game, and it's like, oh, okay.
But speaking of feminism, there's a little bitty anecdote that came with this whole announcement that I'm very annoyed by.
Well, I think before we get into that part, we should probably talk about the fact that Ivan Reitman's son is directing this movie. So the guy who did the original Ghostbusters movies, his son is the one who is making this. And apparently, from what I saw, Ernie Hudson, he said that the original cast will be coming back. Now, I don't know how true that is because, Ernie Hudson isn't exactly a reliable source, unfortunately. So it's like, yeah, I'm doing the movie. And it's like, are you, Ernie?
Let me ask you too, what do you guys feel about the announcement that it's going to be teenagers? That's going to be the cast.
Yeah, like the kids or something.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. That's what apparently the main characters are going to be kids/teenagers, which, I mean, I think that's a very, like, if they were going to make a Ghostbusters sequel before the all-female one, that's what I thought they would have done, is just have the kids be
the original thought, or the original pitch was to have like the older people like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and them being the teachers. Yeah. And so for it to be like teenagers, I mean, as long as they handle it well, then, they can have women in it and they can also have men in it and they're the new generation and that would be totally fine.
Like a passing of the torch story kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even if
I feel like
teenagers,
made the original one better. I mean, even if it would have been all female, but they would have had an actual like passing of the torch. Like, a perfect example is The Force Awakens. Love it or hate it, it was a nice thing to have all the original people there and Han Solo kind of passing that torch on to Daisy Ridley's Ray. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. And it was nice to have that versus just completely remaking it. But we're gonna flip the script.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me about the Ghostbusters, and that one is not even a sequel. That's more of a remake because they pretend like the original movies didn't happen,
Right.
but kind of, sort of did, but not really.
So going forward, I do want to make this statement, and it's a statement everybody's made, but I want to cover my ground. I want to cover my bases as well. Before we start talking about that movie, let's iterate. It's not the fact that it's an all-female cast that makes it not a good movie.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it's not a good movie.
Right.
Yes.
Like I feel like that's the argument a lot of
The
like
fact
feminists
that
get at
we
people.
even have to say that is just infuriating because we are men, some of us white males, so that makes it even worse.
I think Leslie I don't know if it was her in particular, but I remember some of the cast whenever the movie came out were calling people like sexist because they didn't like the movie. It's like, well, no, the movie wasn't good. Like it's not that we don't want an all-female cast. It's just the movie wasn't good.
Yeah, I remember seeing like Chris Stuckman and Jeremy John, and they're usually like harsh on certain movies, and they were, but it's like you could so tell that they were being very subdued.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. They were kind of tiptoeing around the fact that the movie wasn't good, and they're like, "Yeah, well, it's kind of okay," and no.
Well, so my thing with going back to the whole kids thing is, even if it's not teenagers, even if it's kids, I don't think it's going to be a problem because what is almost everyone's favorite show? Stranger Things.
True.
Yeah. Stranger Things cast of kids, and they nail it. So if they have a good cast that can carry on that role and not have a movie like Darkest Minds.
Miles Teller is
Miles Teller, a fucking 40-year-old man, is playing a 12-year-old. Now we're getting into Raimi territory.
Now, are we talking like kids, like adolescent kids, or like
it's going to be
19, 20 something?
I think it's going to be like, from what I saw, it's going to be in between preteen and teen. Like that's kind of, I think
that I'm kind of.
It first was kids, and then they said teenagers, which leads me to believe it's probably going to be that 13 to possibly 16.
Because they got to at least be driving age, right? Because I mean, how
they have to drive back to one? No, they're going to be all like hikes. Like,
wouldn't it make more sense though if you had like actual 20-year-olds, like college student age?
Yeah.
Doing this?
Yeah.
And I'm also wondering, this may be a bit of like fantasy booking, but I want to know if, since they're Ghostbusters, are we going to see like the ghost of Egon since Harold Ramis is dead?
Ooh, no, I don't know if that'd be in bad taste though.
I don't know. Harold Ramis
is Ghost Ramis better than Paul Walker CGI?
But I mean, he was a comedic writer. He worked on it. I think he would understand, and he was so close enough to the original cast that they might be able to get. I mean, or at least with Bill Murray, Murray might be able to have like he might be able to draw that line or tread that line really well.
See, I think when we're having this conversation, I think that a good comparison would be if Bill Murray had passed before they did, like for example, it's kind of apples and oranges, but let's say Bill Murray had passed before they made Zombieland 2. I think Bill Murray would have been fine if they had Bill Murray Zombie, like even though he died in the first one, have just like something along those lines. I think that would be okay. So I think that we'll see that. I don't see why we wouldn't. I think, like you said, the guys were close enough, like especially the original cast, that I think that would be still in good taste. I don't think it'd be in bad taste.
And not just that, but the original Ghostbusters only came out like, I believe, 3 years or so after Caddyshack. And if you know anything about like the production of Caddyshack and how it was like a nonstop party, and he had a lot of creative, like, because I'm pretty sure Harold Ramis worked on that too. I'm pretty sure he did. I might be wrong about that though.
Somebody fact check. Yep.
Yeah, do that before somebody on the internet comes and puts it in the comment.
No, it's too late. They're in the comments like, you fucking.
He wrote. I did not know that he wrote the screenplay for Year One, the Jack Black movie.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Why wasn't it better then?
For Groundhog Day, Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, and he wrote at least for Caddyshack 2. Oh, yep, written by Harold Ramis. Yep. He wrote Caddyshack.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that I think given the nature of what he's worked on and written, and I don't really have any expertise, and nor do I know him or the family or anybody that would be able to verify this, but I think it'd be a really nice Easter egg to have him come back as Egon as a ghost. I really don't think it would be poor taste at all. And I think it would be a nice throwback to everybody who liked the original film 35 years ago.
Yeah, and I feel like if they if they treated it well, and either if the joke was in good taste or it wasn't something as bad as like the blowjob scene, then I feel like, yeah, it would be fine.
He could be the new Slimer.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me on this whole thing, I haven't seen Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, since I was a kid, and I still remember Ghostbusters 2 scaring the shit out of me as a kid. You also got to keep in mind I didn't watch a whole lot of scary movies, so and also give you context. Whenever I was like 3 or 4, when the Power Rangers movie came out, Ivan Ooze was like creeped me the hell out. Though I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I think that's pretty consistent. But I'll have to. This is cool. As far as pop culture goes, I'm fascinated by this. As a personal interest, I'm going to have to go back and watch the originals again because, like I said, I haven't seen them as an adult. So I think this is definitely cool. I think that from what we've all seen in the news about it, hopefully it's going to have a better tale than Ghostbusters 2016 did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I feel like anything can be better than that. And if anything, the passing of the torch storyline makes more sense, because what was so weird about number 2 is that number 2 almost acted like number 1 didn't happen, because you see like some of the Ghostbusters at like kids, party. And so like they're so out of work that they can't even get jobs. They have to, pretend or whatever. That doesn't make sense. But passing the torch on, like, if they are preteens, well, this is a specialty school. So these are all the really smart kids, and they go to a specialty school for the gifted.
Oh, what if it's
Hogwarts?
What if it's an ectobus? An ectobus, like Miss Frizzle's gonna be. So to kind of, unless you guys have anything else to talk about, to finish this off, let's talk about the controversy around this, and that being with Miss Leslie
on that, yeah,
controversy.
Laser
with Leslie Jones. So Leslie Jones, and I think Paul Feige as well, came out with some disappointment with his announcement.
Paul Feige? Oh no.
So the article, the headline for a lot of this reads, Leslie Jones slams new Ghostbusters film, in quotes, "It's like something Trump would do." Her actual quote says, she took to Twitter.
He still promised us Modern Warfare 2. You can't trust anything he says.
So,
but I mean, bone spurs.
Right. So her quote, she took to Twitter on Sunday and said, "So insulting, like fuck us, we don't count. It's like something Trump would do. It says in Trump voice, gonna redo Ghostbusters. Better with men, will be huge. Those women ain't Ghostbusters. So annoying, such a dick move. And don't give a fuck, I'm saying something." It's like this goes back to what I said at the beginning of this. It's like, it's not because it was an all-woman cast.
Right.
The movie just was not good. And this is the first time she's done this. This is why I don't like her, is because she's very loud about shit that doesn't make any sense. Like it sounds like she's literally like speaking into an echo chamber. I mean, it's numbing.
I think though, to be fair to her point though, if Sony is going to make it a point to throw out what they wanted to do with Ghostbusters 3, because there was a different plan for what that movie was supposed to have been, and then they decided to reboot it and make it an all-female cast or whatever. That was a Sony decision, and Paul Feig or whatever. But my thing is, if as a studio, if you're going to continue this franchise, the movie just came out 3 years ago. Like not barely 3 years ago at this point. It's like, well, wouldn't it have made sense to try to incorporate and somehow merge these two versions together instead of just saying, oh, well, that didn't happen. We're just going to pretend like that's all good. Like, you're not Marvel. You can't just like go, oh, well, the Amazing Spider-Man didn't happen and whatever. We're just going to ignore all that shit. Like, if you're going to keep this in the same universe, quote unquote, it would made sense to try to reconcile these two things together. I don't see how they could. They could have even pulled some parallel universe type shit. But it's like, hey, you pay these people. I'm sure they had contracts for another sequel, and then all of a sudden they just ripped this out of their ass, and they're like, oh, psych, we're going back to the original franchise, and we're just making a sequel to that.
Well, I think that's a problem with Sony, though. I think Sony is kind of too ambitious because I mean, look at Raimi's trilogy to Mark Webb's. Well, not his trilogy, but I mean, that was what, a 6-year turnaround? No, that was Spider-Man.
Closer.
Spider-Man 3 came out either in 6 or 8, and then I know Amazing Spider-Man 1 came out in 2012. But I mean, they've had a history of doing reboots like that. But also go to after 22 Jump Street came out, remember when they were in talks to do a Jump Street Men in Black crossover?
Yeah.
Well, that fell through, and then we are getting Men in Black International, which I'm very, very questionable about. So I think that's just a problem with Sony, that they're too ambitious in the goal and the projects that they want to do, that they just can't. They don't have a follow up.
Yeah, so I understand her anger. I just think it's directed at the wrong place. Like, she should be angry at Sony and not lashing out at the creators, because it's like, hey, man, Sony has to sign off on all this shit. It's not like they just burst through the doors of Sony and was like, bitch, we're making, Ghostbusters 3. And they were like, okay, don't shoot. So.
Yeah, I mean, this just goes back to, like, we've talked about this on this show plenty of times, like the whole outrage thing. And I mean, you're absolutely right to say that, she's mad at the wrong people. And I mean, the same thing kind of happened right around the same time that our favorite show in the whole wide world came out, The Last Jedi. But the same type of stuff happened around that movie that happened to the Ghostbuster movie 2016. Anybody who wanted to talk out about it, anybody who just wanted to say anything negative about it, they're automatically just a sexist. Right. And so this tweet is proving that she's keeping that going.
Yeah, that
it's perpetuating a false
narrative.
False narrative in Hollywood.
And see, the bad thing about that is that, like, that was almost the entire, like, advertising for Ghostbusters. It was pretty much, if you don't go see this, you're a sexist.
What, you don't like vagina?
Obviously they had a lot of other things, like they had their commercials everywhere, but it's like, what was louder than the praises of the movie was the dissing on anybody who didn't like the movie. And so that became like its central marketing strategy was, hey, yay women, instead of, hey, we created this great world with unique characters, and which I'm pretty sure they did say that in their defense, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, that wasn't what was the focus. What was the focus is, you're sexist,
the narrative wasn't about the movie, it was about the controversy around the movie. And if you somehow had issues with it, you were some toxic male, something, red hat MAGA type, and it's like, that's not a good way to convert people to want to see your movie. And then when they do see it, it's gonna already come into it with a bad taste in their mouth before they even see what the actual results are.
Exactly.
It sets up this false equivalency, as if you think we don't like something because you're women. Does that automatically mean that because you're women, what you're going to produce is good?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Now, to be honest, I don't really have a horse in this race because I haven't seen the film. I did not want to, but I do consider myself a feminist, because I do believe that women should be on the equal playing field as men. I'm not going to be one of those equalitarians or equal, however you pronounce that word, where we're all the same, because we're not. But
so you're more traditional feminism instead of the weaponized feminism.
You're more classical feminist than
well, just like this is going to be kind of a tangent, so I'll leave it at this. Any sort of movement for equality is going to end up having those extremists who turn it into a weapon. Exactly. And some of those people are going to be people who just don't know any better. Some of those people are going to be ones trying to infiltrate and destroy the movement. I don't know. But listen, if your movie sucks, it sucks. That has nothing to do with you being a woman.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Deep cut.
No, that's an actual true statement too. Is some people literally just, that's the issue we have nowadays with trolls, is people just want to sit on their keyboards and watch the world burn and watch everyone tear themselves apart.
Too many nihilists out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But also The Dark Knight is still a fantastic piece of cinema.
Alrighty. So that was 20 minutes almost.
Right, for like a 30-second GIF.
Yeah. It was 20 minutes for each second that the trailer was. So
right, there you go.
So John Wick 3, obviously the better of the two trailers. This one I'm obviously way more excited for, just because I feel like the second one did a good job of just living up to. Maybe it didn't surpass expectations, but it definitely lived up to. I'd say its biggest flaw was just the story wasn't like fully motivated. But now that we have number 3 and the you know the key, the major key, like what happened at the end of that one is obviously like the main point of this one. Like I guess you kind of have to look at more as a trilogy, because now it like makes sense. It's like, okay, we had this kind of weak, antagonist or whatever, but it set up hopefully what's going to be like the last hoorah for John Wick.
It's interesting that you say that, though, because my favorite part about John Wick 2 was the story. Because the action stuff, that was cool. And I mean, once you get past that initial shock and awe from the first movie, you kind of have to rely on something else to impress your audience. And I like the fact that they fleshed out this world, because in reality, look, John Wick is a good movie, but it's like a paper thin story. It's like, hey, this guy was an assassin, he's retired, they killed his dog, and then he kills everybody at the end. Like, there wasn't a whole lot to that movie, but the fact that they had kind of these little nuggets of story in there about there's a bigger world of assassins and how they operate and stuff. And I think in the second one they did a good job of expounding upon that and saying like, hey, they have their own currency and there's a whole system of how the hits are set up and stuff like that. Like, that was my favorite part of that movie. And going into this, you get even more of that, going into there's like these different factions of assassins, and like they're working either with or against John Wick. Like, I'm interested to see like where the story is actually going, because I mean, I know the fights are going to be cool and all that, but I'm really invested in this world now.
So I didn't actually see John Wick 2. I saw the first one, but I just never got around to seeing the second one. My parents love it. Like, we're all big Keanu Reeves fans. Like, one of my dad's favorite movies of all time is The Replacements.
Point Break?
Keanu Reeves? No. Bill and Ted, yes, but my dad's a big, like, I grew up watching Varsity Blues.
So not Point Break. How can you not love Point Break? That's like his best movie.
No, I think he does like Point Break, but his favorite Keanu Reeves movie is the Replacements. I don't know, but so yeah, the second one I was interested to see, but I just never got around to it. But my question after watching the trailer for the third one is that something that they lead in with in the second one, is that there's a secret society of assassins?
Yeah.
I mean,
they kind of do it in the first one, yeah. But
yes and no. I mean, the ending. Oh well, without spoil, you're drinking LaCroix. I
am drinking LaCroix.
I lost train of thought when I saw that can.
He has like a hipster mail order pack. It comes with LaCroix and a hat
for $5.99.
I don't know. I assume, since we're talking about it, if I go a little bit into spoiler territory, it's not.
It's his fault he didn't see it.
Yeah. I mean, don't spoil the shit out of it, but I mean, you can. Don't be like, at the end of the Lord of the Rings kind of shit. But
no. I won't necessarily explain like the plot, but the second film, at least the end of the second film, does really tie in a lot to the third. God, what can I say without? You know what? Maybe I'll just cut it off there.
Well, I mean, it
is a good transition. We'll put it that way.
It picks up like immediately after, like the second movie ends. It seems, at least from this trailer, that that's exactly where the third movie is going to pick up at.
Well, the second film picked up less than a week after the first.
Yeah,
like,
but there's like a status quo
happens.
change by the end of the second one, and they set up this big MacGuffin at the very end, and then Keanu Reeves runs off, and then it seems like this immediately picks up after that.
Yeah, I went and saw a little segue. I went and saw Glass last night, and that was something that kind of threw me off.
That's not a segue at all. That's just
no. It's talking about, it's referencing what we're talking about in the movie. Like, the Glass takes place 3 weeks after Split.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that threw me off. I was like, because like there's one scene where the girl that he lets go in Split, she's walking through school and everyone's staring at her. I'm like, this happened 2 years ago. Why is everyone staring at her? And they're like, oh, it was 3 weeks. I was like, okay, so that kind of makes sense. But I get what you're saying as far as like it that would probably be something that I would see and be like, oh, okay, that was really a really quick turnaround. But one of the things I'll like specifically about the trailer that I'll talk about is one of the things about the series I've really loved, being a gun enthusiast and kind of in that world, is everyone talks about how they treat gunplay in
Wait,
these.
hold on. You're from Texas and you like guns? Way to live up to
Yeehaw!
the stereotype.
I actually got my love of guns from video games. To be honest, like
Yeah,
that's where it started.
Just so you know, Nicholas.
Nicholas, but everyone's talked about this franchise treating gunplay very well in movies. You know, like I remember when John Wick came out, there was articles saying John Wick made reloading cool, and I was like,
yes,
that's a fair statement. One part in the trailer I really loved was whenever he was shooting the AR. And he ran out of bullets, and he just fucking threw the gun at the dude he was shooting at. I was like, this guy. Like, I think this is what's so special about this is the fact of the training he does for it is legit. Like training, he's not just an actor that's shooting a gun, but he's using every tool he possibly can to get the job done. And I think that that's something we don't see as often as we do a typical like spy or typical assassin movie.
But to be fair though, is that practical? Like, would you really do that in a gunfight? Just like,
Hell
I'm out
yeah.
of bullets, just throw the gun.
Only like in a
It's
combat
gonna hurt.
in
It's
a
gonna
combat
throw him off
situation.
balance, and then you get in close and break his neck or something.
In a general combat situation, I know typically, like if we're speaking military specifically, typically you'll have your AR or your assault rifle on like a strap. So you're shooting and you run out, you swing it and pull out your sidearm. But if you're just like having whatever's near you, that makes sense. Like, I'm out of ammo, let me just chuck it at him and then just pull out my pistol. Like that.
I mean,
that
hey, I
makes
don't want
sense
to
to
take
me.
anything away from it. It was fucking sweet. But when I saw it, my brain stopped for a minute. I'm like, I don't know.
If we could do that in video games and a first-person shooter, that would be fucking
awesome.
awesome.
I want to say odds are if he doesn't have like an extra magazine, and I'm not going to say clip because I know that it's really a magazine. Semantics, but no, it would be a good diversionary tactic.
Yeah, well, and I mean,
nobody would expect you to throw the gun at them.
Exactly, and not only that, but if it's out of ammo, then it's not like he can take it and shoot it back at him. So
it's not really like a video game. You can walk over the magazine and just have it. No, you
get you a scavenger pack.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, and I mean that is the coolest thing about John Wick. Like, I think one of my favorite scenes is the second one. He's making his escape, and this isn't a big spoiler for Nate or anything, but he's making his escape. But beforehand, we get to see his setup. So he sets up all these guns down this tunnel, and so us as the audience is like, well, okay, so he's kind of setting something up or whatever. But what we didn't realize is he's setting up his escape. So he starts making his escape, runs out of ammo, gets to that pillar, picks up the shotgun.
Yeah, he's like Sherlock Holmes in that way, where he like has all this shit like already pre-figured out, and he's like, yes, and then he will step 3 degrees to the right, and then I will grab this handgun that I duct taped to the wall earlier. Like, okay,
can we just talk about how
like the best assassin in the world? Of course, he's gonna have this stuff.
Can we talk about how tunnel scenes are some of the best scenes in action movies ever? Like when you said that, the first thing that popped into my head is one of my favorite scenes in cinema, in Repo Man with Jude Law. Whenever whenever they're the Burn My Shadow song is playing, he's at that tunnel when everyone's trying to kill him. Oh, that like everything about like stuff like that, and then like the Daredevil stuff in the staircase. Static shots like that. Oh, so
have you ever seen Old Boy? Or
yes, I've seen
yeah, the whole
I want to say
scene.
Old Boy, like I don't know if they started that whole trend, but they definitely popularized it.
I think so, yeah. Because I mean, that whole scene, it's just like a normal guy. You know, he's not superhuman. He's getting hit a bunch, and he's feeling it. You can tell he's feeling it. He's feeling it. And then, I want to say he kind of not only that, but then it was also like a continuous shot. Because like One Bach, he started like the continuous shot for like fighting scenes. And so I think that like that was their spin on it, and then they kind of just like took it, made it its own thing. And so now we're having more scenes like that are trying to pay homage, but also make it a little bit different, because the scene from Daredevil definitely made me think of Old Boy, but it was different enough.
I think that's where I got
it
inspiration
felt really
from.
good. Right. Exactly.
I heard like the actual like behind the scenes of that's where we got the inspiration from. I think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But we're leaving out a major part of the trailer. That the dogs are awesome, but yes, I just want to comment on the fact that Halle Berry is got to be pushing like 50 at this point, and she is fucking sexy.
Her and J-Lo are still in the same class. Like nowadays in particular, they're like,
oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some Hollywood women where you wonder what's in their blood. Maybe like young people blood.
Right.
They're just
Except for
getting
Sarah Jessica
transfusion of those young people's.
Yeah.
But no, like her, Jennifer Aniston is another really good example. Like they're almost aging backwards because it's just like, Friends. Jennifer Aniston was always hot, and you know she was always like, you know, my favorite as far as like good looking women. But goddamn, Jennifer Aniston today, and it's not even the fact that she's in more serious films and she gets to be a little bit more sexy. It's not just that. It's just like, goddamn, look at her.
I
She's
never
aged
thought
like a
Jennifer.
fine wine.
I never thought
Oh,
Jennifer
yeah.
Aniston was sexy until We're the Millers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Legitimately, like that was the
that
first time I was like,
striptease
yeah, I was
scene?
like,
Mhm.
oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Word.
But
I gotta go clean up. So you guys keep talking now.
So did we all like the trailer? Was the trailer good?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought
I
it was
mean,
okay.
oh really? Okay.
What?
I was just saying
Have you
that
even
for the
seen the
responses.
first two?
Okay.
No, I'm gonna watch John Wick 3. I was surprised at how good the second film was, so I'm gonna definitely watch the third. And I think it's funny
hopefully
because
Sorry, go
he's doing this, and then him and Alex Winters are gonna be doing Bill and Ted 3. So I'm like,
yeah. I know that's gonna be great. If we
Got a
can
lot
just
of
get Speed, would it be 4 at that point? Did they make a Speed 3?
Was there a 3? I don't think there was a 3, unless
I
it was
know-
like a straight to DVD bullshit.
Yeah, because I know 2 was on the boat. I don't remember if there was a 3.
Speed
or
3
not.
still speeding.
And I'm going fast.
Right.
eh?
Look, I mean, because and we're forgetting Sandra Bullock. She's still hot too, and she's like in her 50s. Because
that's
after I
good
saw
point, yeah.
Bird Box, I was like, oh my god! I was like, what is happening? But yeah, if we could get Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves back together for a Speed sequel, I would totally be down for that.
Mhm.
Just have Keanu go back and do all his old movies, just all the hits. Just bring it back.
Because he's the best around.
Never
gonna keep you down.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait for it. It's definitely one of those that is hopefully going to be an event. As far as you know, this is the third one. As far as we know, this is going to be the last one to see. I'd have to. Yeah, right. I'd have to compare it to like the Planet of the Apes. It's like we got Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and we're like, whatever. And we're like, oh, it's actually good. And then the second one comes out, and just from the trailers, I don't know about you guys, but just from the trailers, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I was just like, it looks like all the action's going to be at the end, and it's going to be this long, drawn out. And then I saw it, I was like, holy shit, no, it's good. And then War for the Planet of the Apes kind of looked like the same thing, especially from the trailer. So I was like, here we go again. I mean, I don't think they can do it. I don't think they could do it 3 times. And then that one was even better. So it's like, that's kind of how I feel the same about John Wick. It's really hard to top yourself. And then when they're able to keep doing it and doing it well, it's like, it's commendable for sure.
Now, real quick, do we know, like, is the name a reference to something like in universe? Because I was like, why Parabellum? Like, I don't get the title.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that either. I'd have to like rewatch them, and maybe somebody says, John Wick, we're gonna come after you, Parabellum.
Right, we're gonna shoot you in your Parabellum. Like,
Parabellum is the name of the horse.
oh right, no, that's the dogs. That's the new dogs. It's Parabellum 1 and 2.
One of them's named Riley, just as a deep cut.
Right. But you know what though? Real quick before we jump off of this, the fact that you know that John Wick is a badass is that I'm pretty sure I saw that somebody say this on Twitter or something like that. But they're like, John Wick is such a badass. He brought a horse to a motorcycle fight, and I was like, yes. I was like, yes, that is awesome.
Now, do you want to know what Parabellum means?
Yes, actually, I do.
Oh, well, I can't really preference this without spoiling John Wick 2, so I won't. But it means prepare for war.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Dude,
So they're going all fancy with their titles, making sure all the hipsters are the only ones that can get it.
Because I would have just been like John Wick, chapter 3, keep on wicking or whatever.
Yeah, I can't really delve into it, like the definition more, without actually spoiling things, so I won't. But yeah, because I'm trying not to spoil anything for you, Texas guy.
You really need to go see John Wick 2.
You do.
Right.
But when you
Right.
do, just make sure you bring the lotion because you're going to be wanting to jack off for this whole film. It's that good.
Oh yeah. No, if you like the gunplay and you're into that kind of shit,
I always keep
really
lotion
good.
on standby, so
Right.
yeah, ain't no problem.
It's just off screen. You just
It's just off screen. Yeah.
Just duct tape to the hallway if he has to make it get out.
right. He has his lotion strategically set up all throughout his house just in case for emergencies.
Lotion in the basket.
Right.
Last thing I want to say too, though, shout out Common. You are a damn good actor, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Common was dope in Suicide Squad, even though Suicide Squad. was not a great
You
movie.
shut your mouth. That was horrible. He's like,
Well, see, I
hey
like-
man, I don't want no beef, Mr. J. I'm sorry.
Oh, that is true. But I was excited whenever I saw Common because Common's an actor. Like I loved him in Wanted. Like I thought, like I really liked his performance in Wanted. And so I was like, oh, I wonder if he's going to be someone big. And he was like, nope. I was like, oh shit.
I was
okay.
like, you liked him in this all the 3 minutes of Suicide Squad that he was actually in.
And if memory serves me right too, I'm surprised you don't know this, but I believe parabellum is also a gun term.
Ooh.
Oh, you should have known that. You don't even know.
Yeah,
Gun.
I'm pretty sure it also it's because it was when I heard that I'm like it's like a double entendre because it's normally part of a phrase, but I want to say parabellum has something to do with guns too. I don't know anything more specific.
See, now you got to take that Thanos hand and choke yourself to death with it because you should have known this.
No,
No,
not
that's-
David
that's
Carradine yourself.
That's a super. Oh,
Right. Too soon.
no, you're right. It's in response to a parabellum pistol is a pistol like a World War II Luger pistol.
See?
Oh, okay.
See, should have known that.
Mhm, mhm.
Well,
Hey,
I
some
mean,
of them
yeah.
I don't know as at deep cut as well.
There's enough Medal of Honor that I'm like that sounds familiar.
Mm.
German pistol.
All right. So, John Wick 3. Everybody likes us. Let us know what you guys think about the trailers we've been talking about. You can let us know down in the comments down below, or you can go to TX3 Productions on Twitter, ThreadX3 Productions on Facebook and YouTube, because I totally forgot to do this at the beginning. And then add at Gmail at the end of that, and that's threadx3productions@gmail.com for our email. All right, up next, we're going to be talking, or we're going to have a talk, and it's going to be called Open Discussions. That was good. That was good. I did very good.
Yeah, you
Recovery.
stumbled and then you caught yourself. Yep.
All right, so open discussions. Everybody's going to bring us a topic. We're going to talk about it openly. So we always start off with a guest first. So who wants to go first out of you two? Quick, fight to the death, and then we'll
Right.
take the one.
Oh, it's
fight,
gonna be like
fight.
the Dark Knight. We break the pool stick in half, and then
Yeah.
it's gonna be great. All right, Benoit, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
Don't make me choose, man.
Fucking Sophie's choice over there on topics. Jesus.
Okay, all right, I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll go. So okay, I'll go first. So did you guys see the reveal for the Mortal Kombat 11 gameplay?
I saw the VGA one, but not the one they just did recently.
It was
it is so
Good. It was
Yes.
good.
Now, I guess I should ask up front, are you guys like big fighting game fans or you more
I
FPS guys?
I am not a big like I have a very casual enjoyment of it. Tekken series is one of my all-time favorite fighting series.
Yeah.
I like Mortal Kombat. I actually bought Mortal Kombat 10 or X, if we're going to do an iPhone conversation here, when it came out. And I liked it, but it was one of those I didn't play it enough as I was playing everything else, so I just traded it for something else. But it's kind of one of those things that seeing this, I was like, this looks beautiful. Like this is something
Right.
I might just pick up because of how good it looks.
Like I've never been
Like I thought
I've
Injustice
never-
2 looked great. This
Oh,
looks
yeah.
fucking phenomenal.
I've never thought that blood and like entrails have ever looked so beautiful on screen before, but it was nice. One of the things I got from it though, because I mean it was a reveal trailer, but they talked a lot about like the gameplay mechanics and stuff, which I'm very intrigued at how this is going to work, because one of the things that they talked about was in MK11 they have a lot of customization for the characters, not quite a create your own character type thing, but how there's different variations of the characters.
Like
I think there's like
Injustice.
like 3 per character, and you can like make your own builds for each character as far as like their costumes and their weapons, and each weapon and costume choice has like different attributes you can put to it.
And that just means they're going to have the microtransactions from
Oh,
Injustice 2.
you know they are.
Oh,
They
man.
are.
But
Oh, yeah.
but this is what I think more developers should pay attention to. Should pay attention to. This is what I like about NetherRealm, is because they are very like they learn from their iterations. So like Injustice, they took what they learned from Injustice and put it towards Mortal Kombat 10. They took what they learned from that towards Injustice 2. And now it looks like they're taking what they learned from Injustice 2 to Mortal Kombat 11. Like it looks very clearly they're not just doing another Call of Duty thing where they're doing something that's kind of new. It looks like they're each, and I'm talking about the modern ones because I mean, you know, Mortal Kombat's in the past, they did their own thing, but like it's very clear, like what you're saying about the customization. That's clearly something from Injustice and Injustice 2.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So it's cool to see that, but in a Mortal Kombat setting.
No, I agree.
So here's a big question, because I'm not super into the fighting or whatever, but one thing I do know is that Mortal Kombat has never really been able to, you know, chip its way into esports as big as like something like, you know, obviously Smash is a big one, Super Street or X whatever Street Fighter, they do it as well, and I think even Dragon Ball Fighters was another one, you know, that got really popular. But for some reason, when you look at the lineup, they don't put as much focus on Mortal Kombat at all, pretty much. So do you think, just from what you've seen, like, are they trying to go down that route? Or are they still trying to be like, hey, let's just be a fun fighting game?
No, I think with some of the new mechanics that they've built into it, like I said, not only the customization stuff, but they talked about how they have these like different meters now for like offensive and defensive attacks, where you have like special like defensive moves and stuff like that. And there's actually a bit more strategy behind it than just button mashing, it seems like. So I think that could lend itself to more people, you know, taking it more seriously as a competitive esports type, you know, game. Because I'm really surprised that it's, like you said, is not really been focused on all that much. Because I mean, Mortal Kombat is like the OG fighting game.
Oh yeah, right.
And you would think that, you know, because there's a big, pretty rabid fan base for it. But I don't know. I think it games like
raving rabid.
I think the simple answer for that is because Mortal Kombat is arguably, or it's very clear that it is the most gruesome fighting game that we have. So it's not as well, like not everybody can play Mortal Kombat. So that's probably why it's not as focused.
It's probably not as advertiser friendly either.
No, definitely not. I mean, the fucking the gameplay reveal of it was like the gruesomest fatalities I've seen.
Yeah. Like there's one where Baraka pulls a guy's face off, and then he pulls his skull off, and then he pulls his brain out with his like knife arms, and then he eats the brain as a fatality. And I was like, oh, that's fucking cool.
So I was gonna say something. I just don't remember what it was now.
Good segue.
So what about the gameplay reveal event has you like really excited for this?
You know, kind of the same thing like when I talked about John Wick 2 or just a John Wick franchise. In any medium, I'm always about story. So if you can give me a good story, I'm always pretty happy, and I can kind of let some stuff, even gameplay stuff, go. And I'm really interested to see what they're doing with this one, because they're kind of tying this game back to the original Mortal Kombat game and a lot of the ones in between, because there's going to be a lot of like time hopping and like different timeline versions of the characters.
Well, that's what I liked about Mortal Kombat 10.
In time.
That's what I liked about Mortal Kombat 10 is they had a really big like they were really story focused on like the campaign.
Yeah. What's the canon though of Mortal Kombat? Because they've retconned and changed a lot of things over the series.
That's why I'm excited for this one, because it seems like they're going to address a lot of that stuff, because Raiden kind of fucked with the timeline in the last game, and now he's like dark evil Raiden right now, and like Liu Kang and I forget the girl's name.
Sonny Blade? Katana.
No, not I think Katana. Yeah, I think maybe I might be wrong, but I know that they are running the NetherRealm now, or the Underworld or whatever. And what is it called? I forget. whatever like the hell of the Mortal Kombat universe is. Like they
Netherrealm,
run that
then.
now. Yeah, NetherRealm. So they've changed the status quo quite a bit. And there's a new character that's coming in who has like these like time manipulation abilities and shit. And they're going to be kind of addressing some of the inconsistencies and the retcons from the games. And they're going to kind of weave it into the story like, oh, because Raiden fucked with the time stream. And that's why this is different from that. And that's why this character never showed up again or why they're different now and yada, yada.
My second question is are you guys mad that Ronda Rousey is Sonya Blade?
Nah, I don't fucking
Because
care.
that's apparently been a thing on the fucking internet. Everyone's like, "Oh, Ronda Rousey,
who
Sonya
gives
Blade."
a shit? Okay. My argument to that would be, tell me who was Sonya Blade before Ronda Rousey.
Good point.
Exactly.
I have no
Like no one gave a
the,
shit.
The
So
woman who
it's-
played the teacher that Adam Sandler liked in Billy Madison. She was
Oh,
the
no.
original
Oh
Sonya
no
Blade.
shit, really?
Right. No,
Yeah.
in the movie. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that
is
wasn't even. Was that Sonya?
Yeah.
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 The one-
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah. In the original.
I'm thinking of
Mortal Kombat
something
movie.
else. Okay, never mind.
But no, I mean, as far as like the game, like no one knows who these voice actors are unless you're just like hardcore into that kind of shit. Like, no, but who gives a shit? Like, so what?
If they don't get Christopher Lambert in, no.
Right, I'm out. If
Well,
they can't
that-
get the guy who plays Shang Tsung in the original movie, then I'm out.
Yeah, I mean that goes back a whole like why can't we all just get along? Why does there always have to be something? I mean, Spider-Man was one of the greatest, games of last year, but they're like, oh, but those cops, fuck those cops, am I right?
Yeah, I know that was
That's
so
fucking
it-
stupid.
it kind of goes back to what we talked about a little bit about Ghostbusters. It's like
Right.
that outrage culture, and it goes both ways. Like this would be something where they would have a
well-
legitimate argument for the whole toxic masculinity bullshit. Like this would be a good argument for that because it's like, why do you care who plays Sonya? Like, who gives a shit?
Oh,
I'm like,
we wanted
the
the
character
chance to
fun
play
and,
her,
and cool to
actually.
fight with? Like, then okay.
apparently Trisha Helfer played Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat 10.
See, look, and it's like, who is that? What is she do
Also,
now?
also, I'm not fucking surprised that Troy Baker was in Mortal Kombat 10 because he's in fucking everything.
Right.
Well, wasn't he the Joker in Injustice 2?
And Injustice 2, I don't know. He for sure was in Arkham Origins. Let's see if he was. He's in Mortal Kombat 11 as well. He's Stryker and Aaron Black. Let's see.
Striker, no striking. Striker, no striking.
But you
What-
know what I'm
yeah,
bummed
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
though? I mean, while you're looking that up, talking about characters that they, brought back. Oh, they brought back Baraka from MK2, but I saw no.
Oh, I
no-
was so when I saw that, I was like, yes, thank
I
you.
know.
He's one of my favorite characters.
but no Cyrax. Like, where's all the android ninjas at? Like, I was
I
like,
know.
what the fuck?
I know.
What
Like,
happened to the Lin Kuei?
I know, right? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on?
So
I
do
didn't
you
see
guys-
Reptile.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't see him either. So do any of you guys know the YouTuber Dash EXP?
No.
Not personally.
Okay. Have you seen his content? Thank you,
No.
Smartass.
Intimately,
Never heard of him
though.
before.
I mean,
So he's really funny, but like I think it was like 2013, 2012. He had these videos where they were Mortal Kombat parody videos,
Mhm.
and he would play like Baraka and be like, "Yo, Baraka!" Blah. It was like really funny voice acting, but like it was. I'll share with you guys. They're really fucking funny. But when I saw him, that was the first thing I thought about is his skits in that, and I was like, yes, let's get that back.
I was
please.
gonna say, was Baraka voiced by Tracy Morgan? Like,
Yo, Baraka! Blah.
I talk louder to let you know it's funny.
oh man. All right.
But
Well,
no,
let's-
that's all I got for Mortal Kombat. I'm done.
yeah, I was going to transition. and
Oh,
then-
whoops.
yeah. All right. So on to the next topic. What do you got for us, Mr. Beanois? Is that how you say
God damn it, I'm leaving.
it?
Well, he could have called you
Quinoa.
quinoa.
Quinoa salad.
Oh,
Mr. Quinoa
Mr.
salad.
Quinoa salad.
Okay, first things
I'd
first.
like it
let
on
me
the
ask you guys,
side. I don't want it as the main dish, please. Okay.
Since we are in 2019, how many of you guys actually have cable television that you pay for?
I use my mother's DirecTV login.
Oh,
I have it just because you have to have it with Comcast in order to have the internet. Like, I don't have like full on cable. I have like the minimum like amount of channels you could get with the
We
package.
use apps. Like my wife watches a lot of MTV stuff on the app that we have to use the login for, but we don't actually watch cable. No.
No.
Okay. Now, that doesn't seem like it's a very uncommon thing nowadays, since you have access to so much more information just via the internet alone. And a lot of these smart TVs have apps now that kind of simulate what the TV experience used to be like. But see, I didn't grow up with cable. Like, I could only watch cable when I was either at my aunt and uncle's house or my mother's boyfriend at the time. I wasn't a teenager until I had regular availability to cable. So I grew up with just like the networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox come 87, and PBS.
What about G4? G4, that was a good one.
I was a bigger fan of ZDTV because I'm that guy. I'm that asshole.
Deep. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, deep cut.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay, calm down, Kanye.
I know. Beyonce had the greatest video. Oh, sorry.
Beyonce got nothing on Janet Jackson. Fight me. But
That's true.
But so I never really had a chance to watch cable unless I was over at, like I said, my mother's boyfriends or my aunt and uncles. And so when I would watch them, you would think I was younger. I'd probably want to watch like Disney or Nickelodeon or something. Couldn't have been Disney because Disney was a premium channel. So a lot of times what I used to watch back then was actually game shows. I was
Like Price is Right kind of.
Older stuff than that, but yes. Because you guys probably are familiar with the USA Network, right?
Oh, yeah. Silk Stockings was the shit.
Now, from pretty much through all the 80s up until the mid-90s, they used to have like a really big programming block of game shows. Hours and hours of game shows. And so I used to watch a lot of them. My favorites were like Price is Right was not on that. And I thought about saying that because you said it. Speaking of which, did you realize Bob Barker, obviously, you think of Bob Barker as the host of Price is Right, although Drew Carey took over now. The Price is Right was not the original Price is Right that you grew up on, hosted by Bob Barker. He didn't take it over until 1972 when they brought it back with a new format.
What did it used to be?
It used to be a show that
The Price is Wrong. That's what the name of the show was.
No, it was actually it was around back in the 50s and 60s. It was black and white, hosted by Bill Cullen. It was very similar to like the opening round of The Price is Right now, but what you would do is you'd have 4 people. You'd bring in a product or a service. They'd bid on it, and you could even bid on it back in cents back then because it was the 50s and 60s. Shit was cheaper. You would bet on it or bid on it and say 50 cents, and somebody would say, no, I want to go to 60 cents, and somebody, no, I want to go to 70, and it would go round and round and round until like a bell rang or something.
Did they like bid on slaves or some shit?
It's funny that you mentioned that because of all the episodes I've seen, I've never seen a black person on that show. But
see,
Pre-civil rights.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like, you can have this brand new slave with minimal whips.
Minimal whips.
Oh yeah. He's only been beaten like twice. It's all good. He's still
okay. I mistook
in
that
the
as
game
if
show.
maybe
In
there
the
was
game
some
show,
kind of
everybody. He's only been beaten in the game show twice.
yes.
Not physically.
Oh, that got dark.
It reminded me of like there was a lot of game shows I liked as a kid, and I was wondering, do you guys happen to enjoy game shows? Do you watch them at all yourselves when you can?
Lately, the one I kind of got into, it kind of fell off for me, but the one I kind of got into was The Wall, one with Hardwick, so we can know why that got rid of. Anyways, but I liked it, and that one had a really cool premise because it was almost like Deal or No Deal, where it was pretty random, obviously, but it was just kind of exciting, and I like the twist that they had on that one. But alas,
so you said that one was canceled?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this would be a perfect time to bring it back because with the whole political climate that we're in right now, they could just revamp the whole show.
Man,
and be hosted by Donald Trump. I'm just gonna leave that out there for y'all to play with that with your imagination.
Somebody kind of made a joke about, instead of them like building a actual wall on the southern border, make it an obstacle course a la Ninja Warrior, where if you make it across, you're just in.
Holy shit!
Nice.
Hosted by The Rock. Yeah, he got
Yeah,
that Titan game
That sounds
show?
like some idiocracy level shit.
Oh
Like, it
god, I
really
would
does.
so watch that. I swear to God.
So, to answer your question, just yes, I did grow up watching game shows as well. There's not really any particular that I will go back to and be. I mean, except for maybe Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? That one I used to watch a lot.
Oh yeah.
But I'm
Okay.
actually going to let someone else answer, and then I actually want to take your topic and kind of twist it just a little bit. Speaking of nostalgia.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mike.
Are you high or are you okay today?
Yeah.
He's got Tourette's. We've established that.
There's a reason his camera is off.
Okay. It's
He's
just
like,
you couldn't
fuck
Yeah,
see
I
him
saw
anyway.
earlier why the
Just
camera's
smoke.
off.
his
but,
eyes are as red as my hat.
Right. I don't have a specific game show that like was my favorite per se. I kind of bounced around between a bunch. Like I did like The Price is Right. I liked Deal or No Deal, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I liked like the old, like, would they be considered game shows, like the Nickelodeon shows, like
Oh, the Temple one. What one's that one
Yeah,
called?
yeah.
Oh, totally. That would totally Legends.
Oh
of
my
Hidden Temple.
god, I
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
love that one.
Would
When
that
they said
count?
that one's
Yeah.
coming back, I'm like, hallelujah.
When that one's coming back, anyway.
That would for
I know
sure
they,
count.
I know they made a movie that was kind of about it, which I'm like, this does not tug at the nostalgia heartstrings enough to warrant me watching this, so I'm not going to. But it was definitely enjoyable with Omek.
oh yeah.
But yeah, that would count. Like, if you're going to talk about game shows from the Nickelodeon days, you got that one, Nick Arcade,
Yeah.
classic. A little bit later in the 90s, hosted by Summer Sanders, Figure It Out. That was a good game show.
Yes. Yeah.
But actually, probably when you think of game shows from Nickelodeon, the biggest game show that you probably comes to people's mind. Do you guys already know what I'm referring to?
Double Dare.
Exactly.
Yeah.
History about Double Dare. Double Dare was originally not a Nickelodeon show.
Was it like a Japanese show that they just kind of
No. Double
co-opted?
Dare, if memory serves me right, Double Dare was actually on the Fox network.
What?
Like, it was not,
That's
it was
true. That is very true.
It was on Fox, and it was actually brought to Nickelodeon because it was a kids show, hosted by, of course, Mark Summers, who later on in his career came out. He's OCD, makes you wonder how the hell did he go through all that stuff.
Still one of my favorite episodes of Workaholics.
Oh yeah,
He probably had a panic attack behind the scenes, like at every commercial break. Like he was just probably just a mess. But yeah, no, stuff like that. Like I was more into the obstacle course kind of, solve puzzles and shit like that game shows.
So for the people at home, it was called Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yes.
Yes. Now,
And
Double
the
Dare.
the dating game was good too.
Okay.
I like that one. Just because it was so awkward. If for no other reason, I watched it for that. Which
I don't know if
that's
I have
coming
a-
back too.
I don't know if
Baldwin
I have
is
a
supposed to
hard
be
on
in
for Chris Hardwick, but I like the dating show he did on MTV.
it. Oh yeah, what was that called?
Singled Out.
Yeah.
Initially, it was Tim and
Yes.
Jenny McCarthy, but then, of course, she had to leave because she caught something being an anti-vaxxer, and Carmen Electra took over.
This will be a very. You need to put a trigger warning at the beginning.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah.
MTV's dating shows back in the day. You remember Next?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That involved a bus, didn't it?
It did. Everybody would
There's
be
a
in the
lot of
bus,
things that
and
involve a
then
bus now.
everybody was on the
Move
bus there too. It was like
that
4 or
bus.
5 guys and women, and then you'd go on a relatively innocuous date until they would say no next.
Yeah, they changed the name of it to Bang Bus now.
Yeah. Right.
Now there was actually another
good,
another dating
good.
show on MTV, Crib Crashers, I think that was called.
Oh no!
I didn't see that
Is it the one where they switch the? Oh fuck! Let me.
No, it
look
was
it
where
up.
the one where you would be they had it from both ways. A girl would have 3 guys, guy would have 3 girls. You'd go into like their bedrooms or something.
Oh
And like
yes.
check out everything in their room.
Yes,
I remember
yes.
that show,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Maybe it's not Crib Crashers. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
It's no, but I know the show you are referring to. I don't know if that's the title, but yes, I know that show.
Man, there was even more dating games. There was Studs back in the early 90s, which the memory serves me right. The cast of, well, not the cast, because it was actually, you watch a lot of sitcoms, sometimes those characters end up on a real game show.
Yeah.
Well, there was an episode of Family Matters where I believe Eddie, Waldo, and Urkel wound up on the real game show Studs. You might want to look that
I
up.
feel like there's some like homosexual overtones in that. There's a gay joke somewhere in there, but I'm still trying to figure out.
No,
Room
it would be
Raiders,
three
Room
guys
Raiders.
and three.
It was
It
Room
would be three
Raiders.
guys and three girls,
Room
almost
Raiders,
like a
that's what
battle
it
of
was
the
called.
sexes. Room,
Not
okay,
Crib
Crib
Crashers,
Crashers.
Room
What the
Raiders,
hell did I
yeah.
come up with that from?
I was gonna say, I'm like, is that where like Exhibit like makes celebrities like switch houses and then he pimps them
Oh
out?
no, I
That's
think it's
the
where
one where
families
you have
from
a
the east
40-year-old
end up,
going after a
putting their babies together
16-year-old.
for arranged marriages. That's what it is.
Oh, is
but
it-
that's gonna, yeah, that might give me some hate. It's funny and it's not.
oh, you're gonna have to cut so much of this out.
So this kind of leads into what I was talking about. When I think of cable TV, when it comes to nostalgia, and Nick is the one who actually just brought this up. The moment in time that I think of the most is G4. G4 was that channel I watched religiously. I mean, I would always have Cheat on. I would always have X Play, and it wasn't actually until towards the end, like I didn't watch Attack of the Show when it first started. I watched it probably when it was, oh God, probably 6 or 7, 8 seasons in.
Oh, so was the Munn still on there at that point?
Was what?
Well,
Olivia Munn still on there at that point?
She was, whenever I started watching, she was kind of consistent, but this was the time frame when she was going out and doing other projects. So
it would have
was
been
kind of-
09, 2010, 2009.
Yes, that's when I started watching it regularly. But also, fun fact, I was on the last episode of Attack of the Show.
Are you serious?
That's serious. Yep.
Oh, okay.
The last
You tell.
episode, the last episode of Attack of the Show, and this was
2013.
the last episode of Attack of the Show, they asked for people to send in videos, and I was like 16 or something. I was headed to school one day. I was driving in my car, and I just made a video about how much the show meant to me. And I'll be damned, on that last episode, I didn't see my fucking fat, chubby ass high school face on that TV.
He was wearing that same hat.
No, I wasn't. It was even douchier, I think. But no. The sad thing is I had it on my DVR forever, and then the DVR finally crashed.
Oh.
And so I've been trying to search for it for years, and I can't find that last episode. But G4 is the one cable channel that literally does mean the most to me, just because that was I grew up with that channel, you know. And I remember, was it still G4 whenever they were doing a lot of the Asian Ninja Warrior?
Yeah,
Ninja Warrior reruns.
G4 was actually around. ZDTV came out and G4 was out. They were both in the same state, California. Of course, you probably know that ZDTV turned into Tech TV. I believe it was 2004. G4 bought out Tech TV and they called it G4 Tech TV, and eventually just shortened it to G4. So G4 was from, as far as you know it, as like a national cable network. G4 ran from about 2004 up until 2013. So when the Asian thing was going on, it was totally G4.
Oh yeah. When they had Ninja Warrior, then they made American Ninja Warrior, and then they just had all those just random ass, like Japanese game shows that started popping up, which
Now,
they would dub over and shit. Like that was pretty hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And it's really cool that you mentioned that your webcam footage or whatever it was, you wound up on the final episode of that. I wasn't on it myself, but about now it's got to be probably about 10 years since then. Back when it was Kevin and Olivia pretty much just doing like the main hosting duties.
Kevin Pereira, yeah.
Now there was a certain time frame. I don't remember when, but they actually did air live. Of course, it was a little bit of a delay, but during the commercial breaks, sometimes it would go into like a G4 or Attack of the Show, like Stickam room. If you remember what Stickam is.
Yep.
I don't.
They would ask questions, interact with people. I was actually in one of those Stickam rooms, and I talked to Kevin Pereira for like 30 seconds, which is really cool. And not just that.
I was never on Attack of the Show, but I did masturbate once to that episode where Olivia Munn eats the hot dog off a string.
Taking it full circle here. Kevin Pereira, I feel like and I follow him on social media, but the Attack I've never really watched, just because it's kind of been one of those I'll forget about it and then I'll see him post. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing, and then I still forget about it. But I think I really don't know what combo was my favorite on Attack of the Show. Like, I really loved him and Olivia Munn, but him and Candace Bailey had a really good chemistry as well that I really enjoyed.
I think he was just a really good TV personality. He worked well with whoever was on.
He's kind of, would a good comparison be possibly him and Greg Miller, like in the sense of how natural they are at it?
Yeah, that's fair.
I can see what you're going.
They're
with
two
that,
different personalities, but Like
Yeah.
they both seem like you put a camera on them and then they're immediately just
They're
Exactly,
comfortable.
yeah.
Yeah. Unlike yourself, where it's like
wearing a fucking hat. Yeah.
right.
No,
Where it's
if I can
painfully awkward
find that, I'll send that to you guys because talk about painfully awkward. I mean, I was like fucking like 14 or 13. I look completely different.
Yeah,
now.
like horrible acne and shit.
No. I was just a lot fucking fatter. And I didn't have a beard. I had no beard, so I was just like.
He had a fedora on.
Yeah, I had a fedora on. I traded one douchey moment for another.
Oh, good time.
Yeah, that was. I was one of those people that I liked G4 for like a short amount of time. Like I said, when G4 bought out Tech TV, I got kind of pissy. Because, I mean, I love video games, don't get me wrong. So I like the fact there's a video game network. But I'm like, you're kind of getting rid of a lot of the techie, nerdy, sciencey stuff that I really enjoyed and what brought me to Tech TV or ZDTV to begin with. And so I stopped doing that. And I'm like, y'all got rid of the screensavers.
Yeah,
Why you do that?
Yeah.
But then I realized that the screensavers became attack of the show. So I'm like, okay, yeah. And it really was Kevin Pereira and his personality that brought me into that show to make me really like it.
I think the thing that I really like about nowadays of G4 is a lot of those personalities I still follow. Like I still follow very closely, like Jessica Chobot, Blair Herter. Like their Instagram feeds are great. Blair's in particular, when he's constantly posting about his whole family. Like he'll be like year 6, day whatever, teaching the kid how to build Legos and things like that. And the only one that I've been a little hit or miss on recently has been Adam Sessler. Just because Adam Sessler's really kind of been on one over the past couple years.
Well, when he had that YouTube channel, what was it called? I was really into that for a while, and then he kind of like helped build that channel up, and then he left, and then the channel just kind of faded away.
No, he's just been one of those very. I hate to use this term, but he's been an aggressive liberal on. Like he's been like very outspoken, like.
Well, I can be a very outspoken liberal too, though.
In a bad way. You know what I'm saying? I'm generalizing, but he's like...
Well, he's from Texas. Don't mind his comment.
Yeah, I'm from Texas. No. He's been... like, talking about Leslie Jones, like, he is, like, screaming into an echo chamber in a very bad... Well, it may not be all the time, but the past few things I've seen over the past couple of years has been like, dude, I don't really know if you should be, like, saying that. Like, that's
yeah. It's like there's some things where it's just like, I understand the point that they're trying to make, but it's like, I don't necessarily know if this is the platform you should be using this for per se right now. It's like some things it's just like, I'm not really here for that. Like, hey, you're totally welcome to your opinions and all that. And, like, and I may even agree with them, but it's just like, you're kind of bringing me down right now.
It's like, don't be a Gillette.
Let's also talk about Kristen Adams from Cheat. Anybody else used to have a crush on her?
Oh, yeah.
Kristen Adams?
Yeah, she's pretty, but no. I had Layla
I had more of yep.
Oh,
we're gonna go down a rabbit hole here. Let's stop.
Kristen Adams, you said?
Yeah, she was the host of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see.
And she took over for the original guy back when G4 was G4.
Like a G6.
Yeah, we don't want to have to start pulling out those emergency.
I think didn't she do American Idol before that? Or one of those singing shows?
She did something after that was that it wasn't like on the same level as Nerdist like Jessica Chobot's doing now, but she did something that was in kind of the same line of work. I just don't remember what it was. It was after G4 stopped being when it switched to what is it now? Or
G4 became Esquire, and then Esquire
became Elroy.
I thought it was like Man TV or some such shit. I don't know.
Man TV is what it used to be back in the day, I think. Elroy TV.
See, I was more of a Morgan Webb kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
Now you talking about going back, man. You got to find an episode of her from the screensavers when she had like white hair. Oh.
But that was a great dynamic too. Adam and Morgan on X-Play. Like that was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
she has some great dynamics.
Yeah.
All right. We should get moving on.
We should because we're gonna end up getting it. Yeah. Where's that lotion?
Okay, everybody. I'm marking it there. Give me a second here.
I'm actually pretty happy. I was actually going to go down a rabbit hole of game shows, and we just kind of spun off from that. And I love it. It worked out
No,
great.
that was
I love
perfect.
it.
That was perfect. But we do need to get moving on. Did you guys want to join us for the rando movie of the week topic?
That depends what the movie was.
Yeah, it was-
Disney's Hercules.
Yeah, I have not seen that movie
The
since I was
Disney
a
film?
kid.
Yeah. That's why I said Disney's Hercules.
Oh, I didn't hear the
Not
Disney.
Kevin Sorbo's Hercules. No.
All I really know is the Kevin Sorbo one and a little bit of the one with Ryan, what's his face, when he was a teenager. I don't even know squat about the cartoon, so I'll probably dip out of that.
No, that's fine. If you guys dip out, that's fine. We just offer it up as, hey, if you guys want to join us or not. But okay, what, honey?
I'm watching 12.
You're watching Trolls?
Aw.
Well, good for you. Okay, you go watch Trolls. Daddy's almost done. Okay.
All right, so my audio cut of this, then, am I going to send it directly to you guys? Will you contact me or through Mike or something?
Nate, take care of this. I'll be right back.
Okay. You can either put it in
If you want, Ben, you can just send it to me, and then when I do mine, I'll just send it to them as just 2 files.
Okay.
Because I got to send to mine anyway, because I know, Nick's contact or whatever, so.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me then, Guy, since he's not here.
Yeah.
What? We're not. Do you have to go?
Oh, no.
No,
we're
you
not-
didn't stop recording, right?
No, I didn't stop recording.
Okay,
We're not. Yeah, we're not done yet. He was just saying, like, "Hey, do you guys want to join us?"
Okay. So I'm sure, yeah, you're probably, because, so were you guys just going to skip your topics then since we went so long?
Well, that's what I was going to ask him. Mine is just like mine was just a brief statement on the Star Wars thing because I didn't want to talk too much in depth about it.
Sure.
But if he wants to just go to the rando, we can do that. I
Okay.
mean,
Because I didn't know if you guys wanted to do like a sign out thing or us just disappear and be like,
well, we can probably still have you guys on there because like you've both seen it though, right? The cartoon.
yeah.
Oh,
I've seen it,
God.
but it's been so long,
been
I
20
don't
years.
remember anything about it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is you could probably add a small comment since we both recently just watched it because basically what we did was on the last episode it was like mate pick a number between blah blah blah. Okay, pick a color. All right, that's Netflix, and so he picked a random movie like as far as like number wise counting down in the things, and so that's where we got to that. But I was gonna say is you guys could probably add. Well, I remember that kind of have a conversation of we've just seen it recently to whenever you saw it as a kid, if you want to. I mean, you could just chime in if you feel like it. You don't have to leave when we do it. What?
Okay, so I'm trying to think, like, when that...
That came out in 97.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say
Okay.
it had to be... That was
I'm
like
back.
late 90s.
That was that weird time of Disney cartoons where like Tarzan came out. And
So Nick, I didn't want to talk a lot about what I typed, but if you want to just skip to rando, we can. I didn't know what you wanted to do.
Well, yeah, right now we're already at an hour and 11 minutes. So I just wanted to make sure give our random movie of the week enough time.
Okay. Mine was just gonna be a quick statement. I don't want to have a full conversation about it.
That's one I could definitely get into. So so if we start it, I don't know where I'll stop. I'll make you stop somewhere.
So you segue to mine.
All right. So what did I miss? Are you guys dipping out or?
I told them that they could stay if they want and just chime in the sense of since they last time they saw it was when they were kids.
I mean, I don't mind staying. I allotted 2 hours for this, so
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the longer I stay, the less time I have left to shovel, so I'm cool. I can stay all day. It's fucking cold outside, man.
oh, it's terrible here.
Baby, it's cold.
Hey, do you mind me asking, Nate? Where in Texas are you?
I currently live in
He's sucking on the vape. Just give him a second.
I currently live in Tyler, Texas, which is like an hour from Dallas.
Okay. Because my girlfriend and I, this weekend, we're going to be making a little vacation to Austin.
Yeah, that's like 4 hours from where I live, I think.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, no. It's a little bit.
I was like, we'll come, we'll meet you in person, shoot some guns and shit. You know, hit our vapes, wear some beanies. It'll be a good
America.
time.
yeah, it's a 4 hour drive from
Yeah.
Austin. So yeah, no, I'll give you some places to go to in Austin if you haven't been. But
Yeah, no, we've never been to Texas ever, so
yeah, it's an experience. Well, I'll tell you,
Wait, in a good way, because
No.
I'm part black, so I don't want to die when I go down there. Is
It's a
it?
great place to live. Austin is probably the most safest place to go. Like,
Is it in the green book?
No,
Is
no.
it in the green book?
no, it's not an agreement. In terms of like you're from Michigan, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say I'm not saying this in a bad way, but Austin is the most liberal city in Texas.
Oh, okay. So good.
So it's very like it's the hippest place in Texas.
So it's gonna be a bunch of like trannies and hipsters and
hipsters.
good times.
Yeah, for sure, a fucking bunch of hipsters. Yeah. You gotta go to Torchy's. Oh my god, you gotta go to Torchy's Tacos.
Ooh.
Oh, so
Okay, I think I'll have a good time then.
So Nick, do you want me to just segue into it, or what do you want to do?
I'll segue into it.
Okay, go ahead.
I got this, son.
Everybody else is still recording, right?
Last I knew, yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure because right before I left, somebody was talking about sending the audio, so I was just making sure.
Well, I thought at this point, like, there's nothing else I can add. I'm gonna dip out of here and send you guys my stuff, but no, I'll hang around for a minute.
Okay, just making sure, because yeah, we usually just keep the recording even if there's an interruption or whatever. Alrighty, we'll mark it again here. Okay. All right, and so we're just going to have the one topic today because that just went a lot longer than anybody would have thought. So let's get right into our rando movie of the week. All right, so if you were here last week, that's when we chose it, and this week's rando movie of the week is Disney's Hercules. Really? I thought you were gonna do the Hercules thing.
Oh! You want to do it again?
Yeah. Hercules. Oh my god. So you were super excited to see this because you said like you just had a good attachment to it. So
Hercules is the first movie I ever saw in theaters as a kid.
Oh, nice.
So when you said that, I got super excited because it's a movie that it was always one of my favorite Disney movies. Apart from, I'm not gonna say Toy Story because Toy Story is a Pixar movie. Fucking fight me. Movie. So yes, Hercules is one of my favorite all-time Disney movies.
Yeah. I'd say of the what era? This wasn't the golden era.
This was like just after the golden era. This was kind of when they were on a decline.
Well, I want to say this was part of the Renaissance, wasn't it?
Not really, because
consider the Renaissance.
This was
I guess it depends on when you were born because this is around like
this
Tarzan.
came out right around Tarzan, and I want to say even like the
Emperor's
Lion King
New
came
Groove.
out at the same time.
No, Lion King came out in
before
years before this.
Yeah, it was like 93 or something like that when Lion King came out.
Well, I mean, it's still technically in like the same era then, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, there was
the Lion King, if anything, Lion King would have been like the start of phase 2, and Hercules was phase 2.
So no, because we don't want to make
in
Lion King like the Age of Ultron of the Disney movies.
In 96, you had the Hunchback of Notre Dame. 99 was Tarzan, and Mulan was after Hercules. So it really,
when was Hercules then? I said that we
97.
Yeah, so I mean it's in the same ball.
Yeah,
it's in the same decade for that matter.
Okay,
so you're just getting nitpicky with me, and that's my job. So anyways, yeah, it was within that same kind of realm as like we got Mulan, we got Lion King, we got Tarzan. And what I like about Disney movies back then, and even like older movies, is just the Broadway feel of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they tried to recreate it in like Frozen is the best example I can think of. They tried to like recreate it in that, and it was just not the same. And I'd even say the Princess and the Frog one that had like some good songs, but it was just the overall like feel of it was the closest it's ever been in a long time, but it still just wasn't quite there. And I mean, I don't even know if you can count like, for instance, Tangled and Moana, because Moana had some really good songs, but it was still like, it wasn't that like Broadway feel like I could see this on a stage.
No, Moana is a good indicator of a new era of Disney, new modern era of Disney. Just for reference, I haven't seen Frozen. I don't plan on it. Frozen is one of those movies where I'm just like, but Moana is easily one of the best Disney movies.
Yeah.
And for me, because I'm a big music guy, and I know you are too, Nick, whenever I saw Moana, so kind of the same way with Titanic. Anytime I hear My Heart Will Go On, it immediately makes me think of the movie and I feel that music. Anytime I hear the music from Moana, like especially How Far I'll Go, like I feel that in my soul. I'm like, oh my God, like this movie had a lot of meaning to me. Whereas I feel like Frozen, like the way I look at it is Moana I put up here, Frozen I put way on the bottom, just because I feel like Frozen is maybe it's just because everyone wouldn't shut the fuck up about Frozen.
Oh yeah, the whole Let It Go is just like when I finally did see it, it was just like it didn't flow very well. There were so many like instances, and not just in the Let It Go song, but in other songs where it's like there was this really easy rhyme, and they could have rhymed like something with ice or something with snow or something like that. Or I mean, just my point is really super easy rhyme, but because they were trying to be postmodern, they didn't rhyme.
Be Post Malone.
Shut the fuck up. Since they were trying to be postmodern, they didn't go for the obvious rhyme, and instead they just made it a whatever, and so it made it feel off to me. And that was any song, but Let It Go was just as bad because there was this clear setup for the word like ice, I think, and she went somewhere else. And I'm like, man. So it's like, to me, that makes it harder like sing along, because when you have such like really good rhymes and really good rhythm to the song, it makes it so much easier to learn that rhythm, to sing along with it, and to really get into it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty ironic how everybody loved and sang that song, Let It Go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let it go.
Yeah, I know. That is my whole thing. I'm like, just let it go, guys.
Never
Just
seen
let
the
it go.
film. Kind of got sick of the songs because my sister loves that song. But 2016, I went to Disney World, and I don't know if they still have it, but in the Hollywood Studios portion, I believe it is. They have like a sing-along Frozen concert where you would have an auditorium of hundreds of people. And these actors, singers would come on, and they would do like a little tiny skit and then actually sing songs from the film, and they would encourage the entire audience to sing along with it.
Yeah.
And as much as I might not like it or be annoyed by it, being in that atmosphere was insane. And I genuinely enjoyed it.
So
there were like fathers singing with daughters and little boys singing it.
Right.
On the opposite end of that, my senior year, we went on our senior trip, and our senior trip was to this like retreat place. And so we were there for a couple days, but we would have breakfast in the main cafeteria, and every year they do a theme. And so since Frozen came out, Frozen theme. And so every morning they would play Frozen music, and they would, we would sing or whatever. And there was one day, even in high school, I was a cranky motherfucker when I didn't have coffee. So I'm sitting there, like I just woke up, and I'm sitting there eating breakfast, and I think it was the last day, everyone in my class was singing, "Do you want to build a snowman?" And I went, "No one wants to build a fucking snowman."
It's July. Stop it.
Yeah. See, I kind of have to like it, and I also kind of have to go see Frozen 2 because I'm a father of a daughter, so I have a little 3-year-old girl. By the time it comes out, she's going to be either 4 or 5 or something like that. She's going to love it or whatever, and I'll see it spitefully, but I'll go see it. Actually, I'll have her go see it with her friend, and her mom can go too or whatever. So, but anyways, Hercules is what we're actually talking about.
I was about to say something.
Right. Yeah. Right. Frozen talk.
Point being is that modern Disney movies, they just don't have the same flair, in my opinion, for their music, and that is definitely one thing rewatching this that I was just like, oh, I love this. I mean, like the fact that they went for the kind of the black girl choir or whatever, that gave it a really unique feel. Yeah, the gospel choir, like the fact that they went for that was really cool, and it was like their way of narrating it, because like they even started off with almost like a meta moment where Zeus is starting to narrate it, and then the girls come in, it's like, geez, you're making this seem like a tragedy, and so then they spice it up, and it's really nice. But not only that, but then just the rest of the songs also kind of have that like soulful nature to them, and then especially when what's the girl's name? Oh my god, I know this.
Meg.
What's her name? Meg. Shut up, Meg. But when she's singing about her and whether or not she's in love or whatever, the choir comes in and they start singing with her, and so just they keep that same feel throughout all the songs. And I really like that particular style where they decided to go with it.
Well, the same way with me with the "I Can Go the Distance" song. Like I remember, like watching this. Of course, it means a lot to me. But whenever I was watching it, I was like, I remember that song. Like I remember it was like a switch clicked off in my head of a song I'd forgotten for years, but I heard it again immediately, remembering it.
Yeah.
But no, I totally agree with you. Like this is the generation of Disney movies where what you said is absolutely apt. I mean, everything about all these songs were memorable, and you felt them, and it was a good song. It wasn't just like "Let It Go" like we were talking about. You know, it's very it's very good.
It's because of Whammon sang it, isn't it? Fucking sexist.
This is a whammon.
Yeah, I do.
You whine too much whining.
I do think that the Hercules movie kind of took some cues from. I mean, and I guess all the Disney movies around that era kind of took cues from like The Lion King with like the kind of gospel inspired choirs and stuff in the songs.
Well, Hans Zimmer just destroyed that score. He like best.
Yeah. And then like kind of took some elements from Aladdin with the whole, narration and stuff like that. So that's I think one of the reasons I didn't care for Hercules, because I felt too much of the inspiration from the other Disney movies, and it kind of felt like this weird amalgamation of a bunch of other movies that they kind of just like mushed together into this story.
Okay.
I can agree with that, but we can also
not like it's bad, but I could feel the inspiration from the other movies that it was pulling from.
Yeah, whenever I was watching this, I was thinking a lot about Mulan, just because "Let's Get Down to Business" is easily one of the best Disney songs ever made.
Let's get down to business.
But yeah,
to your feet.
So, the Huns.
Thank you. So, you didn't finish it. I was just gonna hang up.
So let me ask you, Nick. Seeing this as an adult, did you have any thoughts in particular that stood out?
Funnily enough, I learned about Hercules in high school. So after this would have came out, and it is kind of funny to just be like, everybody always complains about Disneyfying certain stories, and knowing what I know now about Hercules and just how effed up his story actually is, it's just like, oh, look at the pretty colors.
That was my first thought too. Like whenever it showed him being born, like Zeus, and Hera was his mom's name. Hera,
yeah.
Hera. The first scene, I was like, well, that's not right. That's not right. He's not born to God. Zeus is his dad. Yeah, but that was my first thought too as an adult. It's like,
it was very common in Greek mythology for the gods to basically go down to earth and get some business. That's why you were supposed to be courteous to passing strangers, basically.
Yeah, but there are some things in the movie that obviously I didn't recognize as a kid, but one of the ones that I was a literal laugh out loud moment is the scene where Meg is trying to trick him when the Hydra comes out. That's whenever the kids were under the rock, and one of them goes, "Somebody call IXII." So I was like, "Oh, I get that now." But also, one of the things that kind of stood out to me is the cast. Not remembering the cast of this movie. Fucking Zed is Zeus. That's cool. From Men in Black, Rip Torn. I guess he went away for a second.
Yeah.
And then, funnily enough, there's a lot of different voice actors for Hercules. Like, I guess there was a lot that just sounded similar that they didn't use one in particular. I thought was really interesting. But there was another one. The first thing I type in when I type in Hercules. Oh, James Woods. Yeah, James Woods is Hades. That one.
Yep.
And then, of course, Danny DeVito.
I really liked how they even kind of drew Hades to look like James Woods. Like once you know it's him, it's like, oh, I totally see it now.
Yeah.
Wasn't he like Blue Flame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all of his flame up moments I thought were really funny. Like that's one thing I like about Disney movies is they still are for adults. Like they're not all kids. So there were moments in particular, like at the beginning, whenever he goes to save Meg for the first time, like I was like, oh, I remember what she's doing. Like like she's not being a damsel in distress. And then a lot of the innuendos and stuff, of course, that's famous with Disney. But it was the thing I can say about Hercules is I think it still holds up, like especially from seeing it as a kid, because Mulan in particular, I actually watched Mulan about 5 years ago. And that was the first time I'd seen it since I was a kid. And I remember being disappointed. Like when I finished watching it, I was like, that was a lot shorter than I remember it.
Really?
Hercules, although Hercules is short, it's only an hour and 30. It still feels like they told a concise story, and the pacing of it still felt like a normal movie, and then I still love the scene at the end when he goes to Hades, not when he goes to Hades, when he goes to hell, which is Hades, yes, but I'm trying to so when he goes to hell and the whole I'm gonna make you a deal and then goes to save, like that climax is still a climax that I really enjoyed. It didn't just feel like, oh, that was that. I didn't feel too film critique about it.
I think though that's one of the thing about animated movies in general. Like I love animated movies. Like I just recently saw Into the Spider-Verse, and I feel like
it's the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
Best ever.
But I will say though that the movie felt a little long. I feel like animated movies work best when they're at about an hour and a half or so. Like once they start creeping into that 2 hour mark, I'm like, okay, guys, like we can kind of wrap.
I will say that Into the Spider-Verse did kind of feel long, like especially compared to animated movies. It did feel a little, but it was one of those that I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it. Like there's some movies where I'll see where I'm like, oh my god, we're only 2 hours in. Like I want to be like, wait, where's like when is this going to end? Like
Yeah, but no, I think because part of it is because of the medium. Like when you're watching actual people on a screen and they're emoting and doing like, their dialogue and dramatic or comedic acting, you kind of can, excuse the length sometimes. But when it's animated, everything can be kind of shorthanded so quickly that when it runs to about 2 hours, it's like, yeah, you guys are kind of milking this now.
Yeah. I think it also has to do with the time that it was made, because like, back in my day, an hour and 30 minutes was kind of just like the typical feature length. Nowadays, like people are a lot more accepting of longer times. And in fact, like a lot of people prefer that because it makes them feel like they get more bang for their buck.
Which
because,
is weird.
You're spending like $10 to $15 worth of just one ticket, and being able to stretch that out into a longer movie, I feel like people are a little bit more forgiving nowadays than they were. Like if you would have had like a 2 hour movie way back in the day, it's like it better have been like an Indiana Jones, Star Wars type of epic, because that was the only way you could get away with it.
There's other things that I really enjoy about Hercules, and specifically is the art style. One of the things I really, really enjoyed is how they played around with the animation. In particular, the moments whenever someone is dying, or the scene whenever he gets his strength taken away, how you can see how they draw the color fading from him. And
right.
Whenever he gives Meg back her soul, how she went from just gray to her actually seeing her color come back. And then I'm not really going to talk about the god, because I don't really like it. I don't really like the yellow color, but the way they animated that is it kind of reminds me going into like Treasure Planet. And seeing Treasure Planet as a kid, I'm like, this is the most beautiful Disney movie I've ever seen.
Yep.
Like, visually stunning. And, it's not on that same level, but I can see like little things and like, that's one thing I can take away seeing it again as an adult, is picking up on those things, not just noticing, hey, it's an animated movie, seeing the animation, seeing what they can do.
And that's what makes it so nice about animated movies, is because, you have something like The Phantom Menace, and those effects show so, I mean, at the time I feel like they showed, but now 2018, you watch Phantom Menace and you're just like, what is this garbage?
Well, and with that is a good thing in particular with the lightsabers. Like look at the Battle of the Heroes and in Revenge of the Sith, and how the lightsabers, when the blue lightsabers, how they are fat and all over the place, and like the what's the word, the rotoscoping on them is just like ridiculous. But look at a movie like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. It's one concise beam that doesn't move, and that's because of the technique that they used.
Right.
So,
Oh, I thought it's just because the new Star Wars movie happens later on in the universe's timeline, so the technology's gotten better on lightsabers.
no, so do you actually not know this? This is actually kind of fascinating.
Do you not know? Like, are you not even
So
in
for the Force,
know?
for the Force Awakens and the Last Jedi, since the prequel trilogy came out, everyone has like these FX lightsabers like that. That industry started booming. So for the Last Jedi and the Force Awakens, they actually used lightsabers like that, to where it was basically like a Hasbro FX lightsaber, but dueling. And so all they did was just add effects to that. So they already had the lighting from the blade. They didn't have to add. Whereas if the prequel trilogy, in the behind the scenes, it's a green screen stick, like a skid stick.
Yeah.
So they can rotoscope the shit out of that and make it look all kinds of fucking fans at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So Hercules. I mean, I guess what we want to probably end with is like the same thing like we do with Comic Book Club, and as there's like in today's world, I mean, especially if we're talking about an older movie, obviously if we happen to pick one that's like, a year old, it'll be different. But if we're talking about an older movie, I want to say like we should probably talk about like, is this a type of film? And we kind of already answered it, but is this the type of film like we could recommend and or see coming out today?
Yes, in terms of of the content of it, totally.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've moved past. Technically, I think we've moved past because the original, like the 90s, 2000s Disney movies are very formulaic, kind of like the Marvel movies now, to where they have like, you can kind of tell, you can break down the pacing of it, or this is where we're going. But I feel like Disney movies nowadays, things like Tangled, Princess and the Frog, they're not as formulaic. They kind of have a more natural feel to them. So if this came out today, I think technically it would feel outdated story-wise. I think it would still hold up.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
Oh,
Shots fired.
Well, I think in general, this would actually do just fine in today's world, but more like, I feel like there would be certain things that they'd be able to do differently. Like, so if we got the exact same movie, I would agree for the most part. But if we got that movie, but in like today's world, like there's probably like some definitely, like, first off, if we get a live action, which we're most likely getting a live action, it's just like,
I would actually want to see that. Like, I would
shut the fuck up.
I would want to see a Hercules story, because we've seen 2 or 3, if not more, versions of like the actual Hercules story. I think it would be cool and I actually thought about that watching it. Is it would be cool to see this. I think
it could fit though. Like Beauty and the Beast, it has that
Hell is old as time.
Yeah, there you go. It has that fantastical, because it has like appliances that are alive and stuff. Whereas this, like, it could very easily go into like Chronicles of Narnia, where everything looks a little off, and just doing a live action version, I just don't think that it could do very well. Like Mulan, they're making a live action, but that's okay because those were real people in that movie.
Yeah,
other than the dragon, like that's, how they're gonna.
I mean, we've already seen the fucking arena in Hercules and Kingdom Hearts 4 separate times. So,
God damn it! I'm so sorry, guys.
Going on.
I can agree with that. That's just a personal thing for me. I think it would be cool to see like the same sort of style that they did with the animated, but in a live action setting. But because it's an actual more real life story that we've seen in a live action sense, I think it would be a lot more difficult than something like Beauty and the Beast.
I just want to say, I feel that The Rock's Hercules has closed the book on Hercules movies. I mean, do we really need another one after that? Like, come on.
Really? Because that guy who did it after him, he was one of the Twilight tweens, and he did a Hercules movie. It's like, I think that's what killed it.
That was a twin.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He has the charm to pull off any movie he wants. But the tween.
Wait, did you see that movie though?
Which one?
The Rock's Hercules movie?
I stand by what I said. It was a bad movie. It was a bad movie, but it's still Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay,
he could turn Baywatch into a watchable film.
Wait, did you see Scorpion King?
Hell yeah.
He can. I will stand by that. He will make a watchable film. Scorpion
Oh,
one
Lord.
is pretty good. Scorpion King 2 is dog shit.
Oh,
Well,
God.
yeah, that's because
No.
obviously they
I'm
got
talking about the Mummy, the Scorpion
no,
King. Where
that
he's
was
like a CG.
Oh, the Mummy Returns. No,
Yeah.
yeah, we can all agree on that.
Movie was pretty
But
good.
that wasn't him, so it doesn't count. Boom.
But it was his likeness. It was his likeness.
He was like the first Thanos. He was like the CG whole thing.
That's fucking true.
All right. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for the Hercules. I guess let's mark it here for a second. What's our next thing? Our next thing is Nick and Nate's 90s nostalgia, right? I think so.
What 90s nostalgia? Hold up.
Hold on.
Okay, first things first.
Slowly roll. I gotta set it up.
Well, I want to apologize first off. I don't have a noise gate on for Google. Like that's why you heard the train on my end.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's okay. All right. So that's gonna be pretty much it for Rando Movie of the Week. Next time we do it, make sure you guys can join us in our Discord or on Twitter, and you can join the conversation and end up on the show. So before we end up today, what we're gonna do is choose our next topic, which our next topic is Nick and Nate's 90s nostalgia. So this is obviously where we choose something from the 90s and we talk about it. So usually we go to the guest and it's like, hey, do you have any suggestions?
Which I think you guys do. So
Yeah.
feel free.
Yeah, Benoit, this is gonna be your playground right here.
Oh my goodness, you're talking 90s. What are the options? Like what are the
Pretty much
limitations?
anything.
Just to give you
Our very first Nick and Nate's 90s nostalgia was about the
Soccer
Sock and Boppers.
And then we did Power Rangers, Gargoyles, and I think one other one.
We didn't do gargoyles.
We talked about Gargoyles.
We might have talked about it, but it wasn't a subject.
Okay, so basically just something nostalgic from the 90s that you
Yep.
would do a little bit of research into. Okay. Oh man, there's a lot.
Could do the secret S logo.
Oh, if you used to draw from schools. They still draw that in school too nowadays.
I know.
We're gonna talk about 90s.
Oh, hurry up, as I got one. I got a good one.
Well, you say yours first, because there's so much I could probably pull out of my ass.
Okay. Fox's X-Men cartoon from the 90s.
There it is.
I was thinking something similar vein. I was thinking of Beast Wars or Reboot.
Oh, those are both fucking good.
Yeah.
He's good, yeah.
Or if you want to go like 90s, alt rock, the rise of alt rock from grunge up into like pop radio friendly alt rock.
Rape me.
Yeah.
Wait, can I say that? I don't know.
Right? Oh man. Well, those are some good.
In living
choices.
color.
I like Beast Wars, and what was the other one? Sorry,
Reboot.
X-Men. So we're gonna flip a coin here. Heads will be Beast Wars. Tails will be X-Men.
Wait, no, you can't. He has to flip it. You can't flip it. I want to see this.
Well, I just did it on my phone.
He's like, I don't have actual currency anymore.
Yeah, nobody has currency. All right. Hold on.
Just throw your hat on the ground and say,
be a little bitch. Okay.
My hipster beard comb.
Hold on.
There you go.
Hold on. Okay.
All right.
Flipping. Heads.
I win.
So heads goes to Beast Wars. All right. So next episode, what we're going to talk about is Beast Wars. How's that theme song go? That doesn't have as memorable as a theme song, but it's still really good because I want to say, other than something like Reboot or whatever, I want to say it was probably one of the first like CG shows.
Yeah.
It's CG in that style. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
All right. So next week, our Nick and Nate's 90s nostalgia Beast Wars. So you guys can join our conversation if you'd like to at TX3 Productions on Twitter. Also, ThreadX3 Productions, YouTube, Facebook, and you can find our link in the description down below, whether you're watching or whether you're listening or watching, to our Discord and join the conversation there. All right, so thank you so much. One Giant Leap for Geeks, Mike and Benoit. Go ahead and let us know where they can find you.
Well, if you guys are interested in trying to talk to us on social media, we're on Twitter. Ben is at Benoit Gaming. That's BENWAH Gaming. The show is at Giant Leap, the number 4 Geeks. And you can listen to our podcast on any of the podcasting platforms. Like I said, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, whatever you guys use.
You can find me. He gave you my Twitter handle. You will need to actually contact me because I'm terrible. I don't use it all that often. But I do stream. I play games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Benoit. That's phonetically spelled BENWAH. And if I'm not there, you can find me by some local train tracks near you.
Is it wah like wah?
Yeah, like what? WAH, Benoit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a
Benoit.
somewhat funny story behind that, but we don't got to get into that right now.
All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode. And thank you to the Once in a Giant Leap for Geeks guys for also coming on. This was Nerds the Third, where you can always talk nerdy to me.
Bang, 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 bang.
All right. So everybody can stop.